What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some more news concerning Luis Ortiz and Joe Joyce. You remember, guys, that I did a video a while back, and it was to discuss Joe Joyce calling out Luis King Kong Ortiz. In fact, that was right after the Fury fight, the Fury Wilder fight, okay? And Joe Joyce called out Luis Ortiz, right? And then Luis Ortiz, of course, responded, and then you heard nothing, right? Okay. Well, Abel Sanchez explained what happened, okay? Abel Sanchez went on to say that first off, we wasn't ready for that fight. He called out Luis Ortiz. He just wasn't ready for someone the caliber of Luis Ortiz. He wouldn't be ready for someone like that until the next two fights. Okay, that was Abel Sanchez's words. And like I keep telling you guys, I gotta give Abel Sanchez credit for just telling the truth. A lot of times people would try to sweep that under the rug or say something like, "Oh, we don't want that fight because of some other reason other than the real one or the true one." Okay, Joe Joyce, I did think that was kind of fast for him to call out Luis Ortiz. Maybe that face-off that they had at the press conference, and I know they were trying to target that fight somewhere in the future, but not the next fight. You know what I mean? Because Abel Sanchez knows his fighter. He knows limitations of fighters. And he knew that someone like Luis Ortiz could come in there and wreck this kid's future. He's really not a kid. He's a grown man. But at the end of the day, he's a kid in terms of fights. Okay? He hasn't had that many fights. I think this is his 8th fight. Okay? Coming in there with someone like Luis Ortiz would be a bad thing. You know what I mean? But it excites me because a lot of people don't call out Ortiz. And if they do, you hear nothing of that. You know what I mean? You hear nothing of that. So this is just a reminder that people are very cautious, are very weary, are very knowledgeable of Luis King Kong Ortiz. Until someone else credible beats him, that will always be the narrative that sticks in my head because, like Floyd Mayweather said, the proof is in the pudding, okay? When you prove that you can fight a guy or beat a guy, just don't talk about it, be about it, you know? And the sad thing about it is, it doesn't look like he's getting his shot. Like, the shot that he had is the only shot, and that was with Wilder, sadly to say. You know what I mean? If you guys notice the views of certain stuff, a lot of people talk about Ortiz, and a lot of boxers call out Ortiz, but you're not seeing any contracts sent over. You're not seeing any negotiations sent over. You're not seeing any of that. Dillian White claimed I had something, but why is now the WBC ordered a fight between him and Dominic Brazil, but way before that, a fight could have been made. He fights Chisora. I know he had his own history with Chisora, but at the end of the day, there's people that don't want to fight him. Okay, well, if you look at the views of when Anthony Joshua on AK and Barack on the DAZN interview, when he called out Luis King Kong Ortiz, of course I reported it and I gave my counterpunch on it, and those were through the roof. Okay, it was like 1,000 views an hour because people likes the idea of that. Regardless of what you say, they like that idea of someone like Anthony Joshua fighting Ortiz, or Ortiz fighting one of the other top fighters. It's an exciting matchup because we all know that Luis Ortiz is a dangerous opponent, period. No, he's not a champion. Is he in the top 5? Yes. You know what I mean? Did he give Deontay Wilder trouble? Yes. Did he knock out Brian Jennings? Yes. Although Jennings got knocked out lately, but Jennings was making a comeback since that loss to Luis Ortiz, to be fair. Okay, so I feel there's a lot of interest in Ortiz, and that was one of the higher views with everybody reported. Like, hey, Joshua called out Ortiz. You know what I mean? So that's no different from, it is a difference from Wilder fighting Dominic Brazil, because Dominic Brazil is not regarded as more dangerous than Luis King Kong Ortiz. But I'm glad that Abel Sanchez, was able to set this straight, because there was a lot of, you know, it was a lot of crickets. It was a lot of miscommunication from that camp on what happened when Luis Ortiz was like, okay, I'll fight you, but you're going to lose your O. You know what I mean? If you're ready for it, let's fight. And then nothing happened. So I'm glad that, again, I have to take my hat off to Abel Sanchez and just tell him, just know his fighter and know his fighter's limitations right now. And they weren't ready for that fight. And I will leave the link to that interview below. Of course, guys, you tell me what you think about Joe Joyce and Ortiz in the future. Tell me about this video. Leave your comments below. And you guys been counterpunched. Peace.